1 Chronicles 4 verse 10. And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, O that thou wouldest bless me indeed, and enlarge my coast, and that thine hand might be with me, and that thou wouldest keep me from evil, that it may not grieve me. And God granted him that which he requested.
Question. Pastor Wind, on yesterday's Sunday's message. You lead the Gundam hobby group, created the first Gundam eSong, True Colors, try to combine Gunpla, which has a lot of common information, with the eSong created by Aiden. Yesterday, I also had a chance to listen, the pastor and group members review and reflect on this. In fact, many people are playing with models. Why would you be the only one to think that? Turn Gundam models into an interest, and try to connect with the eSong. According to the pastor, for later generations of Christians or millennials, does this have any special significance? Why should God take such care, with a lot of common messages to confirm the Gundam, even typhoons, McDonald's hamburgers, all connected to Gundam? How should we interpret this leadership?
As you said, this was an unexpected incident, because when I first created this Gundam eSong, at first, it was purely random. After some trial and error, finally launched yesterday, on June 5 last year, the day the Gundam Model Hobby Group was established, that's 329 days. This is the number that represents the pinnacle of faith. What does God mean by this way of confirmation? This clearly shows that Zion's faith breaks out of the belief framework that people have known in the past. Go beyond the necessary criteria for what one considers good faith. But as you can see, I suddenly chose Gundam as my birthday present, even form a Gundam model hobby group. If it weren't for this group, I will not decide to make an eSong with a Gundam theme. It was just a random thing, to do something different on a whim. After a few times, I thought it was feasible and decided to do it. As everyone knows, God uses the number 329 to confirm this. At first glance, the whole thing seems completely random. From this, we can see God's deliberate control and confirmation. What are the reasons for this? We have to understand the beginning of the story. It's the tree of good and evil. Just imagine, evil is not what God did at the beginning of humanity. In this way, God is unrighteous and evil. God would never do that. In contrast, God gave humanity in the beginning. There is a specific potential, can have the image and character of God. This is something that animals and plants cannot have. Then God placed the tree of good and evil in the garden. Let man create his own good and evil. In the past, Adam and Eve sinned. After creating evil, all human beings must go through their lifetime to distinguish between good and evil. Because Adam and Eve let sin into the world, so that everyone is born with a sinful body. As a result, since the era of Adam and Eve, for 6,000 years now, it is increasingly difficult for people to choose between good and evil. Because, in general, all social improvement are related to satisfying people's selfishness, selfish desires, and own needs, it has nothing to do with satisfying people's goodness. If God had not given the 10 Commandments and the law, there would be no laws in human society now, not knowing how to use it as a principle. Beyond that, what is meant by the way of doing good? Each has his own opinion. They will stick to the old rut even when they have reached a particular stage. All the sects have proved this point. This is what God hates. God, therefore, cast away the kings of Israel. In the end, it led to the destruction of the country. The reason is that Israel is complacent. They are not wholly ungoverned by the way of goodness. But even in the process of separating good from evil, chosen the path of the good. They have a way of producing evil from good. Especially in modern times, The culture of free speech is more prevalent. Imagine, what is the scary part? That is when all the wicked claim to be good, it can be defined as good. And when the wicked rise up against the good, if its attack is powerful enough, good people are seen as bad people. As I said, who sets the line between good and evil? The more Christianity, in particular, is in a climate of free speech, if there are no 10 plagues to judge the wicked, this will make it harder for people to choose good. Once your good is in conflict with its benefits, you will be regarded as evil and will be treated unreasonably. And you end up dead, unable to do good. The brothers and sisters of Zion bear witness to this, because in all those decades, Zion never stopped experiencing this kind of treatment. In other words, many people are on their way to doing good. There is always a way to produce evil from good, such as hypocrisy, complacency, tradition instead of truth, etc. So, what is the true path of goodness? In what form should we live in this age? Admittedly, it's tough, and there are no limits, because of this. Each generation is more difficult than the next. Yet Zion's presence is visible. It turns out that good can be produced in this form, be admired and appreciated by God. 1 Chronicles 4 verse 10. And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, O that thou wouldest bless me indeed, and enlarge my coast, and that thine hand might be with me, and that thou wouldest keep me from evil, that it may not grieve me. And God granted him that which he requested.
Now is our time. We cling to the love. Far in the distance, the enemy draws near. A line of sight. Our vigor is finite. Although we are outnumbered, won't go without a fight. Strapped in for battle, God is on our side. Yeah, on our side. Whoa, yeah. I don't know how, but I won't bow. By faith and trust we'll get through this somehow. Who's with me? Here now, a soldier's vow. Join me, show our true colors now.